Rosemary's Baby, directed by Roman Polanski,
Yes.
based on the book by Ira Levin. It's Levin and Polanski wrote the screenplay, and this movie is a nightmare. That's
Yes.
the whole movie. It's just a
Yes. You know
what?
nightmare of
You know
this
what's,
woman. This woman's nightmare.
It's her. Yeah,
It's
her nightmare.
gaslighting, right? It's a couple of layers. It's gaslighting a woman.
Right.
It's a very interesting portrayal of the paternalism of the 1960s and how she is often a side figure in her own existence.
Yeah.
And then also the paternalism of the Roman Catholic Church. And you have these multiple layers of fathers
Yeah.
that are playing out in it. And Levin he never really ended up taking off as a person who did more screenwriting.
No, he's a guy who, is known as one of the better horror novelists, but he's not. No,
He never transitioned. And I guess the notion of the book had come from the fact that his mother-in-law was worried that their child would be born on June 6th, 1966.
Yeah.
And so this was where the part of the genesis of Rosemary's Baby came from as a novel. But then the movie was released on the day we're recording this.
Whoa.
55 years ago today.
Which was
It's
not
amazing.
planned, folks.
Not planned.
Not planned at all.
We did not get our story straight, to quote Montreal people, but it was it's the whole movie. It's interesting too because we had just watched The Shining, and there are no jump scares. The part that's supposed to be the scariest is a little goofy.
Yeah.
It's like
The rape?
when Satan rapes her.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're like
Yes.
it's like a little cartoon. It's almost like Babes in Toyland, like the devil they use.
Yes.
It's just like it's almost like a Yeti costume,
Yes.
and like it's not. That's the
Or
part
like-
that's not scary at all, and everything else in this movie is
It's like
terrifying.
Halloween adventure level gloves. Well, it's
Right.
interesting now that Possession got re-released on Shudder, and you could watch Possession again with Sam Neill.
I've never seen Possession.
I haven't either.
You've never seen
No, I've
Possession?
never seen Possession.
Watch Possession because what is interesting is the color story of Possession. So in Possession, there's, the primary colors are associated with different characters.
Right.
And the color map of the film is very interesting as the sort of transition of... I was a film theory major.
Well, that's the thing is Sarah and I are not film majors. No. I was like politics and
I was communication.
I was a
arts.
junior.
Theater.
I was not junior. What do you call it? My minor was political science, and my
major?
major was film theory.
no, geez,
Two
no wonder.
useless.
No wonder you and me can't find fucking work. I'm theater and international relations. So me and Anthony, we have a lot to talk about, but no practical skills.
But I chose this film partly because it's funny you mentioned The Shining, also because you could see. I really believe that in some ways Kubrick does some tribute to Rosemary's Baby in The Shining, including color schemes. The use of greens in The Shining are directly corresponding to the use of green in Rosemary's Baby.
Oh wow!
The kitchen,
And the cover is green. The famous
Yeah.
cover
yes,
is green.
Yeah.
the kitchen color in the home before they move, before Danny goes, is akin to the kitchen color in the apartment in Rosemary's Baby. So there are tributes, and also think of two films that basically write the story for every other piece of major horror. Any other film that comes out, any film you watch now,
Right.
is
Yeah.
essentially the roadmap is established by Rosemary's Baby and then The Shining as two. Obviously there's, The Omen and
It's very.
Exorcist
Exorcist is
and-
very different, but
Exorcist is very different, but sets the tone for a different genre, right?
Right.
Because devil worship versus possession are very different.
well, it's all
Right?
good
That's
guys
true.
versus one bad guy versus one good guy versus all bad guys.
Yes. Well, and also consider what was going on at the time in the Catholic Church. So Kennedy had been assassinated. There was a lot of concern when Kennedy was elected about the power of the Roman Catholicism.
Was John Paul already elected by that point, or was the
No. John Paul's not in because you have the assassination of Pope John. I think is it Pope John? Yeah, who right before, which is supposedly by the secret lodge that was established within the Vatican.
Yeah.
That shifts the whole direction of the Catholic Church, and John Paul II, who is Polish, and the reason that the Poles were they wanted this Polish pope was because of the destabilization
areas,
of Eastern Europe and the hope to regain control of Poland into the West, which we were talking prior to the podcast. We're now moving further east into Ukraine. So, but all these things matter in terms of the story.
Get ready, man. There's going to be a Margaritaville in Moscow by the time we're 70.
There will be. But the thing that is interesting is that the Catholicism is at its peak power at this time. That's why you have The Omen, The Exorcist, Rosemary's Baby. You have all of these discussions about what the power of Catholicism and also the concerns of the burgeoning waspy Anglo world that did not want the power of the church to usurp their world that we live in now.
The secular
like they
world.
won.
Yeah.
And they won that war. And the interesting thing is between Saperstein and the other figures depicted, there is a bit of a anti-Semitic stripe in there.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that, and Polanski's Jewish, right?
Yes.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Polanski, there is something about how, you know, Mia Farrow's parents in this, Rosemary's parents, do not support her marriage with Guy Woodhouse, who's played brilliantly by John Cassavetes.
So great.
Because one of his parents is Jewish.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like, and then it starts to get you thinking, it's like, wait, is that why she was picked? Like,
Yes. Well,
it's a real weird self-hating Jewish tropes.
Well, I think that there's self-hating Jewish tropes, but I also think there's this like, the idea that Guy, right? What a great name, right? The vague name, and Guy, who is like, the thing to me, the horror movie of this movie before it's satanic, is the horror of the mediocre husband. Like, I'm watching it thinking
Who just
about...
loses his light throughout the whole movie.
Yes,
His,
it's true,
and,
he does.
and sells himself...
Yeah,
But
becomes more
more
successful.
successful, but then diminishes who he is as like a person.
Yes.
So like his star rises. But I think that's what happens to everybody that co-signs with
the devil.
the devil. No, truly.
Yes.
It's like, I'm going to give you this, but I need this. I mean, you really are selling your soul. So
But-
he is just he's just an empty shell.
And then by
by
the end of it, like when she throws water on him, on his face, doesn't even seem that big of a deal because he's nothing at that point.
Yeah.
Yes. He's
No.
nothing. He is truly just a guy.
He's just
right?
a vessel to
He's
like
just
get-
a guy, and in the beginning, but throughout is a contempt, much like Torrance, like Jack Torrance.
Yeah.
There's a contempt that you can see with her even early on. There's a slight dismissal and when they're going through the apartment, right? And then they leave and they're walking. She goes, "Oh, Guy, can we get it?" And he goes, I'll see if I can like get Hutch to get us out of the thing, right? That even in that thing, she is dependent and childlike to him, right? And he's in charge. And then in addition to that, there's the diminishing of her agency, right? And her being like all through him, right? Well, he was in Luther and he
Right.
was in and that sad repetition that happens. Because I think of myself. I think of when someone, my wife or whoever's like, well, he had the present show and he's on and you go, oh, I'm fucking Guy. Like there's a part of it that's like
I'm
a
Guy.
nightmare.
When I
Dan's
watched
Guy.
this,